And at 10, Five Nights at the Car. This game makes me need to go to confession because the sheer amount of rage this game fills me with. The pure anger I feel thanks to this game cannot go away. I can't even call this a game. It doesn't deserve to be on this list because, well, it isn't a game. This is a goddamn set of 3 pictures. Nothing more than that. Just 3 goddamn JPEG files, not even PNGs. How was this allowed to be on Game Jolt? Is there no rule that there has to be an exe file? Like, this makes me so angry. What the actual hell? The description of this game is even worse. It's, hey bro, thanks for doing this job. You are a 10-year-old kid who is in his car at the mall waiting for your mom. But weird things want to kill you, so your job is to protect yourself from them. If you're hearing this, you're crazy. End quote. What? This thing is so absurdly bad that it hurts me. This is literally just a JPEG file that looks absolutely atrocious. Like, I know it takes a lot to make a game, but these images were made in what looks like MS Paint, not even Paint 3D. I could make a better game than this. Like, this is just a cardinal sin of humanity that needs to just be taken out back right between the eyes. That's why I will send you to confession. This is why I need to go to confession. And at 9, Five Nights at F-Boys. Five Nights at Boys is a FNAF fan game created by Sable Lynn and Joshua Shaw, an RPG maker version X Ace featuring unfair difficulty, text-to-speech voice acting, and beautiful animatronic yiffing. You control Freddy, who decided that he wants to have a radical night of hardcore debauchery, and the surveillance cameras of the pizzeria are the only thing standing in his way. With the help of Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, Freddy must destroy the cameras so that he can have the time of his life. The Game Jolt page lists the features as over 50 lines of voice-acted dialogue by text-to-speech programs, infuriatingly powerful and frustrating main bosses, even more infuriatingly powerful and frustrating bonus bosses. Seriously, even the regular encounters will fucking destroy you. Free money, Balloon Boy, Foxy pleasuring themselves, and Dragon adult recreational devices. Oh, homicidal party hats, and Tupac. And at 8, FNAF 3 PowerPoint Edition. I think this game makes some sense as to why it's on this list already. It's a game that, from the description, was made in PowerPoint. This FNAF game was made in PowerPoint. How the ever-loving hell did that work? How can you make a FNAF game in PowerPoint? Like, imagine if that's how Scott released the first game. That's just a freaking PowerPoint file. That would have been insane. Plus, this is just a very simple, like, click a couple times and get jump scared kind of thing. Don't even actually play. I mean, like, at least this jump scare is scarier than the original FNAF 3 jump scare, though. Zing! Like, this is just a sin because it feels bad and wrong to play it. Or to even have it downloaded, honestly. I thought that the whole it's a PowerPoint thing was a joke, but no. It's literally a PowerPoint that you just click through. And at 7, Five Nights at Chum Buckets. Five Nights at the Chum Bucket is the official sequel to Five Nights at the Krusty Krab. And while it may be a sequel, the story is by far darker and more haunting than the first. After the Krusty Krab was burned down, the player is the only survivor, and he gets kidnapped by a business official who wants to cover up the incident and leave no witnesses. When you wake up, you find yourself trapped inside the security room of the Chum Bucket. During the first and second night, the businessman discovers that there is another survivor who is trying to save you, so he thinks that if he lets him try, he can kill you both. You must survive 6 nights of animatronic onslaught as you wait for your survivor. You must survive 6 nights of animatronic onslaught as you wait for your savior. This game features several iconic characters like SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, Sandy, and even Karen. But she's talking to the manager the whole time. They also have phantoms, and that's pretty dope. These characters, however, are all animatronic, making them under the control of the businessman and basically mass murderers. I mean, they're like the gorilla from that one episode. And at 6, Golden Freddy's Debauchery Simulator. The description for this game starts off with a warning right away. Quote, "This is just a fan game for Five Nights at F-Boys and not a game by the original creators. I am not trying to take credit for making the original games, and I am just a fan of the original FNAF games, who had too much time on their hands." This is a Five Nights at Boys fan game where you play as the best character, Golden Freddy, during the 5 days prior to the first FNAF Night of Debauchery, as he has not just a night of debauchery, but a complete week of debauchery. But some F-Lord keeps shitting on everything he loves, progressively making stuff and contrived reasons for the first game's events ensue. And just like Five Nights at F-Boys, this has a list of unnecessary details. Unnecessary difficulty. Seriously, this game will kick your teeth in if you aren't prepared. Party hats everywhere. Terrible fan-made dialogue. Golden Freddy. Brutal romantic pirate conquest. Whatever that means. And finally, Wyvern adult battery-operated fake extremities that I cannot talk about on YouTube. Yeah, it's one of those games. Halfway through into number 5, Five Nights at the Chum Bucket. After the Krusty Krab was burnt to the ground by a rogue animatronic worker, the sole living survivor of the inferno was taken captive by the robot's malevolent controller. When the player awakes, they are to find themselves trapped and located inside the security room in the Chum Bucket. Within the first and second night, the business official who talks to the player discovers that there is another survivor who is trying to save the player. The business official then decides to allow the other survivor to come in and find the player in order to kill them both. The player once again has to survive for 6 nights like in the first game against the animatronic onslaught as they wait for their savior, the man behind the door. Get it? Because it's like the man behind the slaughter. While its predecessor game, Five Nights at the Krusty Krab, is certainly something, Five Nights at the Chum Bucket just seems even weirder. Like, why? Why would the Krusty Krab burn down if it's underwater? And why would we be kidnapped and placed in the Chum Bucket? What the ever-loving heck is going on in this godforsaken game? But you know what? 10 points for creativity. And for Purple Guy Simulator. Purple Guy Simulator isn't exactly the most sinful game. It's something that I was actually asking for, honestly, but I personally wanted it in VR. But straight up, I love the fact that there is actually a Purple Guy Simulator. Going around to Freddy's Pizzeria, killing kids, and then shoving their bodies into animatronic suits until you get caught by the cops is certainly something that I find blissful. It's relaxing, running around trying to find a kid who's alone so that you can shove a knife in their chest and then try to hide their body before anyone, like another kid or like another parent, finds it. Oh man. My biggest question is, why do parents keep bringing their kids to these restaurants if children end up going missing there? And a lot of children when I play. Like, who thought that the continued attendance to Freddy Fazbear's was a good idea? Hell, if someone sneezed in the wrong way, my father would like tell us not to go there for like 5 years after that. Like, Barney was banned in my household for whatever reason. And at 3 is Shadow Over Freddy's. A Shadow Over Freddy's is a short point-and-click exploration horror game that showcases free roam gameplay, but keeps to the tableau-esque style of the FNAF series. Fun fact, in grade 10 I took drama class. Oh yeah, surprising. And for the final exam presentation we had to like pick a theme. We had multiple gamers in the group, so we picked video games, of course, and we had a segment for FNAF where we had me photoshopped to be Golden Freddy. Like, basically I just wore yellow and put ears on. And the other members of the group were other animatronics, and Owen was playing the night guard on stage. Then I snuck behind the whole class and like screamed when I popped out on screen. It was fun. Anyways, this game has you roaming around the FNAF 1 pizzeria while you have different objectives each night as you try to find a way out of this accursed restaurant. You don't have cameras, doors, or time on your side, only the requirement to complete your objective. Plus, this game is in black and white, making it even scarier when you think about it. It's really unsettling, and free roam is something that we haven't seen in other FNAF games, not even Help Wanted, so well done. Well done. And ultimately, in number 2, A Shadow Over Freddy's. A Shadow Over Freddy's is a short point-and-click exploration horror game created to showcase unique free-roam gameplay while keeping the spirit of Five Nights at Freddy's intact. This is actually a really good fan game, honestly. Playing as an individual trapped inside an abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, you must traverse the location while avoiding the creeping darkness that infests every corner of the building. Complete different objectives each night, uncover your lost memories, and find a way out of this accursed restaurant. Relive the horror of the first FNAF game as you explore every nook and cranny of this dilapidated remains of the original location, but with a new twist on the formula that will scare even veterans of the series. However, the sinfulness of this game doesn't come from trying to sleep with or woo animatronics. Instead, it's sinful for the same reason that Purple Guy Simulator is. Because at the end of the game, it is revealed that you are William Afton. So yeah, you play again as the psychotic killer of the series. And as we hear Henry say in FNAF 6, we're keeping the devil waiting. And finally, in at number 1, Five Nights in Anime. I mean, look, I know that people's love of animatronics can get a little weird, but even I, of all people, someone who constantly jokes about hitting on Toy Chica and then actually goes and does it, I was surprised to learn that this game existed when Amanda mentioned it in the weirdest FNAF fan game collab video. I honestly imagined that this is what Five Nights at Love was going to be, and I've seen a lot of fan art for this franchise. A lot. And I thought I had seen it all, but apparently I hadn't. Enter Five Nights in Anime. Oh boy, this is a game that was created to parody Five Nights at Freddy's, obviously, but instead of you being a security guard at Freddy's, you've been hired as a late night security guard at an anime convention. You know where this is going. And it's up to you to watch these anime-style female animatronic versions of the Freddy's cast. Hijinks ensue. We've still got the core cast of animatronics, but just as well-endowed anime women, because why not? I think the really weird thing about this game is that how many people want more of it, and like it got a second game. And not only that, but these characters, they aren't actually women. They're still animatronics. They're full-on animatronics and they're not even possessed. So what's the point?
Number 10, FNAF Go. So this game has not actually been finished, but it is a thing that has a page on GameJolt. The page for it describes it as a FNAF fan game inspired by Pokemon Go and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Oddly enough, it's not the only FNAF fan game I've seen that has made reference to Pokemon, which is a little weird, but also kind of makes sense, I guess. Although this one obviously would like to do a lot more to blend those two worlds together. As weird as it sounds, this is basically what we got with Special Delivery, which a lot of people love, so although it's definitely still a weird premise for a game, it also seems to be a profitable one. But hey, just because something is weird, doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad idea. I think it's important that we, say that just because we're calling something weird doesn't mean we're calling it bad. But sometimes we're also calling it bad.
Coming in at number 9, Purple Guy Simulator. Purple Guy Simulator isn't exactly the weirdest game. I mean, it's been something that I was actually asking for, but I preferred it in VR. But straight up, I love the fact that there is a Purple Guy Simulator. Going around to Freddy's Pizzeria, killing kids and shoving their bodies into animatronic suits until you get caught by the cops is certainly something that I find blissful. It's relaxing, running around trying to find a kid who's alone so you can shove a knife in their chest and then try to hide their body before any other kid or parents can find it. Great. My biggest question though is why do parents keep bringing their kids to these restaurants if children keep going missing there? Like, who thought that the continued attendance to Freddy Fazbear's was a good idea? Hell, if someone sneezed the wrong way, somewhere, my father would prevent us from stepping foot within the same block as whatever that establishment was on. Given the current situation, it would have been reasonable, but like when I was 8, it certainly wasn't. But like either way, I'm dressed as the Purple Guy for a reason. I love this game.
Number 8, Bonnie Simulator. Speaking of weird yet cathartic simulators, here's another one for you, Bonnie Simulator. Like Connor, I too find this game both strange and delightful. But while Purple Guy Simulator is a game that I think many of us wanted in a weird way, I'm not sure if anyone was demanding a Bonnie Simulator, and yet I cannot deny it's pretty fun. The question that the creator of this game has been asked before is why do we just play as Bonnie in the simulator, which takes place during FNAF 1? Why none of the other animatronics? Well, that's because they only had so much time to make this sim, and Bonnie is their favorite animatronic. I can't fault them for that. Although I gotta say, I would love to see their take on a Foxy sim, as Foxy is my favorite animatronic.
And at 7, Five Nights at Wario's Debauchery Simulator. Made by Tonkoi on GameJolt, the description for Five Nights at Wario's Debauchery Simulator reads, quote, Wario wants to find the murderer who killed them so they can go on a adventure that is full of MLG. And that's it. The credits are to WWW Wario for creating Five Nights at Wario's and Scott Cawthon for making FNAF. This is just a sin, not even if you play it, but like if you just so much as look at the GameJolt page, you're going to hell. This just screams shit show, and to be frank, I don't really want to have to deal with it. This is almost certainly a riff on another fan game, which subsequently was inspired by Five Nights at Boys, so I don't know what to do anymore. Like, is this a fan game, or is it a fan game of a fan game of a fan game, or is it just like a fan game of a fan game? I don't know, my brain hurts.
Number 6, Day Shift at Freddy's. Wow, this is a weird game for so many reasons, but even as we discussed as early as point 10 on this list, weird isn't always bad. This game is definitely weird, but it's also definitely great. In this game, you play as an entertainer slash Freddy's general staff member who walked around inside the spring lock suit at Freddy's location entertaining children. Of course, it's not all fun and games. Not only is there a lot to watch out for and a lot of work to be done, but there's also some fan-related jokes within this game that are pretty hilarious and also hilariously bizarre. Basically, Day Shift at Freddy's has got it all, and if you haven't experienced this bizarre gem, I highly recommend you go over to GameJolt and do so now. Although, fair warning, it is a mature game. Day Shift at Freddy's is also only one game within its own franchise, so there's also more to play if you fall in love with it.
And at 5, Dormitabus. Dormitabus is one hell of a name change. After flames consumed you, you soon realize that you woke up in a place you can't identify. How are you alive? Didn't you just burn to death in Fazbear Fright? Your confusion, however, turns into fear when you notice you have a mission. You need to save the dead. But the dead you're trying to save aren't really friendly, and they're your old friends. The game expands on the lore of FNAFs 1 to 4, but excludes Silver Eyes and Sister Location as the game was planned before these were released. The game takes the animatronics we know, love, and our pants at, and twists them into something you would only recognize if you knew what they looked like before. They even resurrect Springtrap in the form of Garvey, who is even more wrecked than before, and I don't mean like riggedy wrecked, I mean like torn up to bits. And the most iconic thing they did are the Havoc animatronics. They're all mangled forms of other terrifying animatronics, and oh boy, they're horrible. You honestly just need to see it for yourself. You play as John Wright, a man responsible for Springtrap's mental deterioration, making him partially responsible for whatever he has done. He's also meant to be the protagonist from FNAF 3. Keep in mind that this was all before the big lore reveals of the series, so you can forgive him for that.
Number 4, Five Nights in Anime. I mean, I know that people's love of animatronics can get a little weird. Well, it can get a lot weird. But even I was surprised to learn that this game existed. And I've seen a lot of fan art for this franchise. A lot. I thought I'd seen it all, but apparently I hadn't. Enter Five Nights in Anime. This is a game that was created to parody Five Nights at Freddy's. Instead of you being a security guard at Freddy's, you've been hired as a late night security guard at an anime convention, and it's up to you to watch these anime girl style animatronic versions of the Freddy's cast. We've still got the core cast of animatronics here with a few original additions, but they're all just stylized as well-endowed anime ladies. Because I guess why not? I think the really weird thing about this game is how many people seem to want more of it and want a version that leans more into this genre seriously, as opposed to being a parody. Even though it's firmly stated like this is just a joke, it's just a parody. Yikes.
Getting close to the end in number 3, Five Nights of Love. Oh yeah, the game that I didn't know existed but had a feeling it would. This game actually inspired a whole series of lists that even though I didn't know that it was a thing until I looked it up. But I figured if KFC had a dating simulator, FNAF must have one too, right? And it absolutely does. You heard me right, ladies and gentlemen, a FNAF dating sim. You love shipping animatronics with everything, living or not, breathing or not, with a human trapped in a suit or even just a pile of trash, you'll still ship it, and it's disturbing. But this time, you get to decide who makes the cut in Five Nights of Love. Tracking via cameras the rooms of the public place, a player will periodically meet the live toy animatronics, Chica, Foxy, Freddy, and Balloon Boy. With every one of them, the player can have a heart-to-heart talk or hug these unfortunate freaks, as the game calls it, giving them all of their love and attention. Thanks to this treatment, the level of the toys' love towards you will only increase by 5% or 10%, but the energy level that you have consequentially will decrease by 10 or 25%. Once your energy is out, the player will have to return to their office and start the next day. However, you can also refill your energy at Balloon Boy by up to like 50% at once if you're lucky. But over a period of 5 days, you are trying to make these animatronics as happy as possible, earning bonus scores for how well you do.
Number 2, Five Nights in Anime 2. Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, Five Nights in Anime has a sequel. Oh boy, and the hits just keep on coming. Also, I should note that this is also not the only sequel to this game. I believe there's also a sister location version of this, which I think, you know, Circus Baby, I guess that's what we all want. I don't know. This version of Five Nights in Anime is even more bizarre, as it's really just more of the same stuff with the same tropes, but this time parodying, you guessed it, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. My question is, if this is a parody in the exact same vein, did we really need a sequel? Didn't we already get through the joke? Although I will say, having played a bit of these games, they're actually pretty well put together. I don't know what's happening here, but there must have been people asking for this sequel, as it is a thing that we got. Also, let's just take a second to acknowledge that the first Five Nights in Anime got 3.5 million downloads, whereas Five Nights in Anime 2 got 1.8 million. So you guys are all out there, so just tell me in the comments what's happening.
And finally, in at number 1, Five Nights of Love. Ah yes, the game that I didn't know existed, but had a feeling it would. This game actually inspired this whole list, and I didn't even know it was real until I looked it up. So that just goes to show what this fan base is like. But I figured if KFC has a dating sim, FNAF must have one too, right? And it absolutely does. Yeah, you heard me right. Five Nights at Freddy's dating sim. You love shipping animatronics with everything, living or not. With a human trapped in a suit or even just a pile of trash, you'll still ship it. And it's disturbing. But this time, you get to decide who makes the cut in Five Nights of Love. Tracking via cameras the rooms of the public place, whatever this place is, a player will periodically meet the live toys of the animatronics of Chica, Foxy, Freddy, and Balloon Boy. With every one of them, the player can have a heart-to-heart talk, or they can hug these unfortunate freaks, as the game puts it, giving them all of their love and attention. Thanks to this treatment, the level of the toys' love towards you will only increase by 5 or 10%, unfortunately. But like when it's me, it's gonna be higher. But as consequence, the level of your energy will decrease by 10 or 25%. Once your energy is done, you have to return to the office and then start the next day. And partially, the player can refill their energy at Balloon Boy by 50% at once or something like that, if you're lucky. I don't know how it works. But over a period of 5 days, you're supposed to make these animatronics as happy as possible, earning bonus scores for that. The more points you get, the more successfully you've completed the game. Why is this a thing? In at 10, many nights at Lenny's. This is the one place that you could get a job, and being in desperate need of money, you applied and got in at a local museum, which is centered around an abandoned children's pizzeria. Armed with security cameras, a piano that will scare off any robotic intruders, and other security features, you must get through 5 nights. I feel like an infomercial. We have cameras, a piano, and many more amazing security features. So make sure you come on down to Lenny's Airbnb. I'm always watching. You're welcome. Unfortunately, this game hasn't really seen the light of day, but looking at the banner and the trailer that the creator Oni made, it shows real promise. A very Five Nights at 2 feel, with a story that involves you talking to the police, running away, and really just improving on FNAF 2 in any way it could. While it may not have seen the light of day, being published over 3 years ago and not being updated for a while, it should be completed. It could also very well be completed, and I could be totally wrong, but okay. And at 9, Those Nights at Rachel's. Those Nights at Rachel's was developed by Nixon and Smashing Renders. It takes place in a Freddy Rivals establishment known as Doug and Rachel's, where you play as a new night guard and must defend yourself against animatronics, typical FNAF gameplay. However, you're supposed to be preventing the thing from escaping. After finishing, you get paid and promoted, but you end up suffering nightmares over the weekend. By listening to the voicemails left by the phone guy, you end up finding out terrible details of this gruesome conflict between them and Freddy's, and in all honesty, it feels like an attempt to get themselves inserted into the lore by Scott, since having a conflict with another restaurant could help them sort things out with the lore, especially now, even when this game came out in 2016. Within the lore now, the pizzeria paid Scott to make the games, therefore Doug and Rachel's could end up skewing that in their favor, or they could have been the ones who ended up paying him. In all honesty, I don't know, it could work. It could work. And at 8, Five Nights at Wario's. Five Nights at Wario's by Wario is obviously a somewhat laughable parody of FNAF, with the game using Mario characters like Mario, Luigi, Waluigi, Peach, and the title character of Mario. Using models from Brawl Box, they look like they did in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I guess the Waluigi one was made from scratch. The game contains a hidden story about why these characters are haunting this fast food factory, as well as Easter eggs and rare screens to be found. This whole game takes place in an alternate universe, Mushroom Kingdom, making them more modernized, I guess, since they have a fast food restaurant they're able to haunt. I guess they're also dead because, you know, you can't really haunt anything if you're alive. Unless you're me, and in that case, my presence will ultimately haunt you for days to come. This game isn't really referenced that much in the FNAF fandom from what I saw, and it's unclear why. I remember there was a spill where YouTubers were playing this game, and this is definitely an old one coming out in 2014, and getting itself some sequels. So it's fairly impressive for a game using other franchises' characters in another franchise's scenarios. Coming in at number 7, Five Nights at YouTube Office. How would you feel working at the YouTube home office? I'm sure plenty of you would think that that would be a dream come true. However, apparently, at least according to this game, please don't sue us YouTube, apparently there are YouTubers that sleepwalk into the office, and there are also certain YouTubers that haunt the office, whatever that means, since from what I can tell, all these YouTubers are still alive at the time of recording, and certainly at the time the game was made. Basically, this game works as a FNAF 2 clone with YouTubers instead of the animatronics, where PewDiePie is the puppet. Understandably. Having to wind a music box to get him to stay chill. Because if you don't, you'll get the ultimate bro fist to the face and then get cancelled for associating yourself with PewDiePie. That's right, the imminent threat in this game isn't death, it's cancellation. Social death. And at 6, Five Nights at Candy's 3. Like FNAF 2, Five Nights at Candy's 3 is a prequel and the beginning of the FNAF timeline. There are 8 stars you can get in total, 1 for completing the 5 nights, 1 for knocking the origami cats, and 1 for getting the ultimate night. There are also shadow stars you can get for completing shadow challenges. There is quite a bit to do. There are also 3 challenges in total, laser pointer, my wake up music, and silent night, which seems like I'm about to be getting presents and being visited by a creep crawling down my chimney, but only the latter half is true. The game was released in 2017 and was confirmed to be the final game in the series by the ending screen in FNAF 2 that's said to be concluded with a big 3, referencing that this was the finale, but perhaps there will be another considering how this is a prequel and prequels don't typically conclude storylines when they are teased to be concluded. The game features monster animatronics as well as the other animatronics we've seen in the other 2 games. Have you played Five Nights at Candy's? Like, it's a popular fan game and I feel like it's worth a shot, but I want to know other opinions first. So let me know below. But honestly, I swear these names better get original soon. Like, at least have one called like Sometime at Harold's or something. Come on. Halfway through into number 5, Five Nights at Chucky's. In a few days, the old animatronics are going to be replaced, although that means someone's going to have to watch over the restaurant during the transitionary period. And management has given you a new temporary position as a night watchman. You've been provided with security cameras to ensure your and the animatronic safety, along with a personal phone guide. It should be a simple job, right? This is an official, complete reboot of the popular 2015 FNAF fan game Five Nights at Chuck E. Cheese's, featuring new mechanics, graphics, and more while still keeping the spirit of the original game. A FNAF fan game about f***ing Chuck E. Cheese. What the absolute living hell, people? Why? Like, I understand that Freddy's is a riff on Chucky's, okay, but we don't need this. This is the one thing that I thought was going to be safe from the FNAF world due to fear of copyright strikes or trademark law violations, but no, they just went for it. And it's a shame, because I don't want to suffer for the mistakes of lesser men, but I guess that I have to. And now, you do too. When my kid asks me to go to Chuck E. Cheese and I say no, they're gonna get all mad, but they're not gonna understand why. This is why. And at 4, Sinister Turmoil, Sewers. Sinister Turmoil was intended to be a bigger game on release. However, after the game's cancellation, developer Angus WW released Sinister Turmoil Sewers, a small snippet of what the main game would have been like, with prototype Foxy, otherwise known as Mangle, being the main antagonist as you run around the sewers looking for a way through, with Mangle having a security cupcake that once it sees you, it will follow you, and if it gets close enough, it will begin screaming and sounding an alarm, which will identify your location. Underneath the abandoned Fredbear and Friends Funland, horrors lurk in the shadows. Mangle was released into the sewers and now you're locked down there with it. While navigating a series of tunnels, you need to find a way out, as well as avoiding the monster that has only one item on his agenda, killing you. The game can take anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour to complete, or more depending on how bad you are. Getting close to the end, and in number 3, Five Nights at the Car. The description of this game, okay, is, hey bro, thanks for doing this job. You are a 10-year-old kid who is in the car at the mall waiting for your mom, but weird things want to kill you, so your job is to protect yourself from them. If you're hearing this, you're crazy. What? This thing is so absurdly bad, it hurts me. The game, if I can even call it that, is literally just a PNG file. And it looks absolutely atrocious. Okay? Don't get me wrong. I know it takes a lot to make a game, but I could make a game better than this. This isn't even a game. It's a picture. It's multiple pictures. This is just a cardinal sin of humanity, and it needs to be put down. I hope this was a joke, because if not, this is why William Afton started killing. And at 2, Final Nights 3, Nightmares Awaken. I've talked about the Final Nights series before on Top 10 Scariest FNAF Animatronics Part 1. The Reaper Puppet was number 10 because, like, oh my god. Reaper Puppet is one of the main antagonists of this game, where you must defend yourself in a hospital room. Like, come on guys, is nowhere sacred? The main point of this game is to get to 6 AM, however time doesn't pass while you're awake. You need to sleep in your bed for time to pass. So you need to wake up, scare everyone everyone away and then go back to sleep for a while, then wake back up and make sure they don't kill you in your sleep. The scariest animatronic in this game still has to be the Reaper puppet, because the way it crawls over the railing and the fact that you need to like confront it to scare it away is the worst. It's like a predatory animal. Like, it will attack if it's comfortable, but if you approach it, it runs away. I'm pretty sure there's a predator that does that, right? It was meant to be the final game in the series, but this was changed with the release of Final Nights 4: Fates Entwined. So, there you go. Got another one. Another one. Finally, in at number 1, The Joy of Creation. I've been going this whole list thinking one thing. They need to make a fan game where you play as William Afton and play through the story. Hell, I'll even do it. Spend like a year figuring out how to make a game, and then I need to make it into a VR game, because who doesn't want to kill kids in VR, right? Like, that's why we got Skyrim. In all honesty, I wanted to see that happen, and I thought that's what this game was, but it's actually something far more interesting. The Joy of Creation is made by Nixon, the same game dev who made those Nights at Rachel's, and is inspired by FNAF 4 as well as Boogeyman. In the game, you play as Scott Cawthon, who is now being attacked by his own creations after ending the series. The game started off with a survival mode but got a story mode added later on, and the story mode is by far the scarier of the two. The normal animatronics are replaced with ignited versions, and holy crap, they're nightmare fuel. Plus, playing the games gives you peace, since it's set in a different world, but this game literally takes it into our world, and actually sheds light on why Scott keeps making so many games in the series. Maybe this is why. They're threatening him.